We are interconnected. When war ravages upon one of us, we are all covered in darkness. In the clouds of darkness, it is hard to see the light. But there is courage in community and there is comfort in connection. In our community and in our connection, we see that there is light shining on us, in us, and through us. In this spirit, we are offering a chance for people of Ukraine to share their stories, their messages, and their hopes for their country to exist in peace. May the clouds of war dissipate in the light of our peace. From Integrative Lawyers of the World. Today, we are joined by Ina. She's a Ukrainian citizen experiencing the Russian invasion. This is her experience.
I'm Inna. As you mentioned, I'm from Ukraine, and actually I live in Kyiv, but now I'm near Kyiv with my family. So it's almost, like the peak point of all this war and crisis, because Kyiv is our capital. I'm working communications, especially for legal tech sector. Maybe because I have legal background, maybe because I just love lawyers and what they do. Like few years ago, I tried to be a lawyer myself, but then I decided not to be a lawyer anymore, but help lawyers to communicate with others. Also, since I love legal tech and legal innovations, I do legal design. And I believe that innovations, especially technology, that's the thing that will make lawyers happier.
Prior to the Russian invasion, Ina lived in Kiev. She shares what it was like to leave her beloved city.
I lived the first day of full-scale invasion of Russia. It was 24th of February. I did not plan to, because near my house there is located like bomb shelters, really good. But then my parents decided that it will be great for us to be together through these times, and I just understand that it's very important for me, and it's great that they convinced me to move to them. It's near Kyiv, like 10 kilometers. So it's, like very, very close to Kyiv, but it's not the capital. So the life here is more quiet. Okay. And here is more quiet. That's why I'm now trying to get back to my work, get back to my routine, because first 4 days, it was awful because it was like a shock situation. So you didn't know what to do, and you didn't know how to convince yourself that all will be fine. Although you see, like heroic events and great emotions of your relatives, for example, because they all believe that Ukraine will win. And also you see heroic experience of your army. It's not enough for you, because you understand that your life and life of your loved ones, your lives are in danger. Yep. That's why it's, quite good to be near them, because it gives you a lot of power, additional power. So I'm glad that my parents convinced me to move to them, because I feel better because of that. Although, the situation is quite different for all my friends. Somebody moved to the Western region, somebody also moved to their parents, and somebody moved to even different countries like Poland, because they opened their borders for Ukrainians. But now I'm not planning to move anywhere. I just want to stay here, because I'm always want to live in Ukraine. I didn't remember myself wondering about moving to Canada or to the US, something like that. But we didn't exactly know what will be in the future, so something could happen.
It takes us through the first day of the invasion and the decision to leave the city.
I was trying to go to bed as early as I can, but I couldn't actually. And I was surprised when I woke up at 6 a.m. our time, and I saw my grandparents, because currently before the full invasion, I lived with them. So I saw a lot of fear on their faces. and I was just surprised because I only woke up. They told me what happened, and we were planning with them how to go through this for three of us, my grandma, my grandpa, and myself. We were packing our, like extreme bags with all things you need, or we were planning what to do next, especially because I've got a lot of work to do. So I was thinking maybe I will need to move to another country to cope with my work duty, etc. But then we decided to stay here and to watch the situation. And at like 1 p.m., my mother told me that there is bombarding near our part of this Kiev. So it was near Kiev, it was Hostomel, but it's like very close to our apartment. That's why we decided to move to our parents. But it was not a really simple task to accomplish because a lot of people were trying to leave Kiev those days. And the thing is that we are located near the Permora Avenue, and it's like the main road how to leave Kyiv those days.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was quite hard because we will need to walk by our legs like for 2 hours to some place in which there is no such a traffic. And my uncle was able to get us by car and move to my parents. So there was a lot of traffic those days, and I saw a lot of terrified people. However, we were walking through the park, like the biggest park in those areas, and there was memorial of Vasil Stus. He's like Ukrainian dissident who was murdered by USSR government. And, it was very emotional because I was always walking with my dog or just walking with my friends by my own near this monument. And I was always thinking that he was a hero of his times because he was not afraid to be different and he was not afraid of his position, even living in the USSR with very cruel governmental, forces. And then it was like a very emotional moment because I understood that nowadays it's heroic time for my country again to, defend ourselves from the invaders. And another moment I remember very clear, it was while we were working through this park, there were like a lot of families with children, and they were, just regular walk with mom, dad, and children. So it was quite surprised that they were not, afraid at all.
Yeah.
They're very patient about the situation, but it was only the first day, and we all just hope that it will be like 2-3 days, firstly. Yeah. And maybe next thing is that all of us hope that it will be better or it will not get worse than that. But it was quite a surprise, to understand what I saw, what I heard from the news, what I heard from my mom about the bombing itself, about sex, and then to see people just walking as a normal day in the park with their children.
So your grandparents moved with you to your parents' house?
Okay. Yep, and it was actually the reason why I firstly was so unconvincible to move to my parents, because I could not understand how I could leave my grandparents, in this situation, just move to my parents because it's like safer, because it's not Kyiv, and Kyiv, it's like the main target of Russian troops right now because our president is here and all the important officials are here. So that's why Kyiv is the main target. And my grandparents, they are very, patriots of our countries. They love Ukraine. And actually, I do think that I am Ukrainian and I love my country and I love my culture as I do because of my grandparents. Because they told me a lot about this stuff, a lot about culture, about Vasil Stus and his memorial near their house. So that's why it was very important for me to get them to move to my parents.
Have you seen any Russian soldiers or military or tanks or anything?
I heard bombing. I hope I will not see Russian troops for all of my life, but my friends told me about it. And I got friends who just live in Kiev right now, so they tell me a lot about what's the current situation. Actually, there are a lot of videos of heroic examples of Ukrainians with their hands go to Russian tanks and trying to stop them. So, there are a lot of images that you could get from the internet, but not know myself. I only saw Ukrainian army because they are now like everywhere.
Okay.
Yep. And, like territorial defense, it's like local groups of men or women who are ready to defend their cities or their villages, something like that.
Ina talks about the Ukrainian territorial defense and seeing them throughout the cities and villages of Ukraine. Where you are in now, is there a territorial defense group there?
Yep. And there are actually a lot of people want to join in. For example, my uncle and my father, but there is, like very long queue, and only people who has previous experience in armed forces, they are now able to participate in territorial defense because there are a lot of people who want to participate. So, they need to put some criteria. Yep. I think that just because it's very important to understand that Ukrainians are very, like strong nation and very united these days. And I remember very, very clear that my teacher in my university, I take some sociology classes. It was about economy and startups, and since I work with startups, it helps me a lot. And I remember he told that Ukrainians have very, very interesting culture because we are all individualists. So we're thinking about ourselves, maybe a little bit about our family, but we have a very strong belief that if there is something like critical situation, you will be able to be very unified because you have some obligations among your nations. So we are a very individualistic nation, but with high level of high feeling that we have obligation before our nation. Okay. So it's very, different situation.
Here, Ina talks about having a daily practice. For her, it's a daily practice of yoga and healthy eating. Helps her find inner peace when she's surrounded by war. Are you still trying to manage day-to-day stuff like work? And how is that affecting you emotionally? Like trying to do things as a normal day, but knowing all this stuff is going around and it's uncertain how the day may end or tomorrow may begin.
Yep, it's very difficult because I'm a very emotional person. I'm very tight with my emotions. So it's like my personal feature, but I'm very emotional. So I'm dealing with it very tough, but I'm trying my best. And first 4 days, it was more about, just to understand and just to get back from this shock situation, to understand what is really happening around me, what is really happening in our country, how it could affect me and my family. And then I just try to get back to my normal routine because before the full-scale invasion, I was taking a challenge of 30 days of yoga. I was taking a challenge of 30 days of no sugar diet. I was like, wow, I'm so strong. I didn't eat sugar. I do yoga every day. And then just 24th, I didn't do yoga and I ate a lot of sugar, a lot of sweets, a lot of chocolate because I understand that I need something different. So a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges. And I was doing quite well before the 24th because I was able to not eat sugar and to do yoga every day, but now I'm not. After the fourth day, like the fifth day, all psychologists tell that it's the hardest day because you get a lot of amount of fatigue, accumulated fatigue, accumulated anxiety. So it's very bad for your nervous system. That's why it's so important to firstly help myself and then to work. But nowadays I'm trying my best to, balance in between helping myself to go just back to normal. For example, yesterday I tried to woke up, to drink water and to make some yoga, to go back to those routines, because we do not know what will happen tomorrow, for example, but we understand that it's important to keep living, because by this you are also helping your nation, like the general feeling of unity. You're helping, by being strong, you're helping others to be strong. After I do my yoga, the day is better. It's first. And the second, it helps me with my nerves and with my anxiety, because yoga is about breathing and about moments and about uniting your soul and your body. So that's why I love it, because I'm, quite thinker and quite, I love to do a lot of stuff. I love to be very active. That's why yoga helps me to slow down a little bit and to think about myself first.
Ina's love for her country comes through as she talks about Ukrainian culture and what she loves about it.
For me, Ukrainian culture is not only about, like the regular stuff, it's about the spirit behind it. So nowadays, today I wrote a post on my LinkedIn that I listen to our national anthem every day, like just more than once a day, because it keeps me energized and keeps me with hope. Yeah. So I love, firstly, our songs, like national songs, which you could get from your grandma and your grandma